Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach and the host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I want to share something with you, and let me be crystal clear to leave an everlasting impact upon you. Just imagine being buried alive. You're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You don't know how to get out of the coffin. You try to lift the lid. The enormous weight of the lid prevents you from opening it. You try to then bang on the lid because maybe you unsettle the dirt and someone on top might notice and start digging their way down towards you. This is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help, you know you can't do it on your own, but you don't know where to get help. In reality, though, there are people standing by your grave. You just don't know that. You just think you're going to die. Usually, though, people don't think about death when they're habitually abusing drugs and alcohol. In order to feed an addiction, you have to be great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind that maybe, just maybe, you might overdose and take something that was so preciously given to you by Jesus, called life? With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be like the person that I'm reading about on these index cards that waited and waited and waited to get help until it was too late. Instead, pick up the phone and call me at 844-405-HELP, or you can text me at 631-599-0218, and together you and I will help you take back your life before your life is gone. People like Larry Geis, over 30 years experience as a life coach and addiction recovery coach, people like him can also help you, and there are thousands of others. But you have to remember that life coaches and addiction recovery coaches are mere crutches for you to lean on. We guide and direct you, but you need to reach to God. He determines your future 95%. No, 100%. But God does allow you to get human help, and people like Larry Geis, addiction recovery coach, life coach, will help you go from your addiction to your recovery. He'll guide a path for you from depression to happier times. He'll help you with a plan from low self-esteem to high self-esteem. Larry Geis can be found at www.odysseyconsultant.org. Larry Geis, an addiction recovery coach, 516-458-2741. Folks, remember what I say during every single show is at night, take your slippers off. Don't just leave them by the edge of your bed. Stick them under your bed. In the morning, take a look under your bed. There they are. Retrieve those slippers. And while you're on your knees, have an email. That's your personal chat line to God. It's not an email. It's not an instant message. It's not a phone call. It's an email. While you're on your knees, ask God for guidance and direction. Ask God for forgiveness and mercy. Thank God for another beautiful day to enjoy waterfalls and streams like this, because for someone out there, it's too late. Thank God for having a home, a family, and clothing and food. Ask God to protect you during your travels throughout the day and your life. When you're done, stand up, put on your slippers, roll back your shoulders, stick out your chest, and walk with God 24/7. Email, KNEE mail, your personal direction, guidance, and chat line to God. I want to talk about not judging people. Whether you meet somebody at the party, at a party, go out on the first date, or become acquainted to your new boss, it is very important that we don't judge people, because first impressions are a guiding point in getting a feel for what a person is all about. Sometimes a first impression can speak more truth through a person's actions or lack of than words. Yet, the majority of people and the majority of time, first impressions aren't always accurate. Based off of first impressions and looking back on some people you've met, how often do you perceive the person you know in a completely different light than the way you initially met him or her? That picture you painted of this person in your mind may not have been spot on. Matter of fact, it was probably off. Do yourself a favor. Next time, you don't let yourself first impression be the final judgment call. It's time to let go of all first impression and misconceptions that you may have about someone, and instead keep an open mind. Here are 5 reasons why first impressions aren't always a reliable factor. I just want to straighten out something over here because I see one of my screens. There we go. That should be better. Here are the 5 reasons. People have their guard up. Let's face it, not everyone likes to divulge his or her entire life story within the first encounter. We're all not open books who can easily reveal a segment of our lives to anyone. Oftentimes, people are extremely particular what they say to or share with others. A grand majority of us are paranoid and cautious beings who take baby steps and let people know what we're about and letting them into our lives. Take, for example, the level of discretion, or better yet, air of mystery you chose to exude to that guy or girl you've been interested in. From the other person's standpoint, it could have made you come across as stuck up or uninterested, when in reality you know that was far from the case. You have to take that into consideration, and take into consideration that the fact that the person just might have his or her guard up and needs time and trust in order to reveal his or her awesomeness for you. People are multifaceted. In conjunction with the first point, not everyone is one-dimensional being who can categorize into a specific category. Someone can be both witty and serious, just as he or she can be sassy and sensitive. First impressions are supposed to be a glimpse into what someone is like, not a final call to who she truly is. As fun as inhabiting the deductive role of Sherlock might be, keep in mind that even the most deceitful people out there, aka psychopaths and narcissists, have initially fooled people into thinking that they were charmers. Your judgment can impair your perception. We can't be Mother Teresa all the time. The everyday person will initially judge someone before getting to know him or her, based on the person's overall demeanor, style, and physical appearance. We size someone up and make our own conclusion about the type of person he or she truly might be. Just because she dresses in a formal manner doesn't necessarily mean she is prude, or just because he wore his long hair under a cap doesn't mean he spends his days smoking joints in his mother's basement. If someone is different from what we normally are used to, we judge him or her to an even greater extent. Let's do ourselves a favor and not rush into conclusions about a person after the initial meeting. Your present emotional state and the people you're around can impact the way you act. Think about the initial job interview you had, or that time you went to a party and barely knew anyone. Your uncomfortable state may have made you come across in a certain way, aka shy, reserved, or perhaps even more awkward than you could possibly imagine yourself being. More often than not, a combination of your emotional state and novel situation you're placed in can make you a project of a genuine version of yourself. I should say a genuine version of yourself. Rewind to your high school days where you were reserved self and you were dubbed initially as the shy loner or the antisociable person, when you knew deep down it was more a result of not fitting and choosing to stay alone rather than associate yourself with hypocrites. Keep this in mind next time you're the first or you're with your first date with someone who seems to have gone or been tongue-tied, couldn't say anything during that date. Instead of calling him or her awkwardly shy, think about how presence and this person's current emotional state can impact his or her ability to act differently around you. A short time frame limits our ability to get to know someone at his or her core. It goes without saying that first impressions are limited in many ways. Sure, we can either be positive or negative, or we can get a vibe on either positivity or negativity. But more often than not, it really limits our ability to get to know someone beyond the superficial level. People aren't all that easy to figure out. There are layers behind a persona, and sometimes, in order to peel those layers back, time is an essential factor to do so. After all, people are complex creatures who often surprise us more than ways than we really expected. That guy who struck you as having no romantic hope in his body could possibly be more romantic than you might even think, or that girl who maybe seemed tough on the exterior may actually be a true softie on the inside. In the end, time is a valuable lesson. So ladies and gents, don't jump into the first impression bandwagon and think you've got someone figured out already, because chances are you don't. Be patient and don't let the first impression be the guiding point to someone's overall demeanor. Everyone deserves more than just the initial judgment call. And you know, if you truly look into the Bible, there are so many verses about judgment. Just Google, what does the Bible say about judging other people? Because let me tell you something, and I've done this, and I'm sure you have. People that judge others constantly and consistently usually have a self-issue problem. What does that mean? What is it? Is that we're looking for fault in others to cover up our own faults. Remember that you and I and thousands and millions of other people, we all have our positives and our negatives. But it is truly our mission and goal in life to not judge what other person's negative might be, because they could turn around and do the same to you. And how does that make a peaceful world? And that brings me to the point of, we have so much violence in the world because of people judging. So why don't we all agree today to stop judging others? When you meet somebody new, give it time to get to know that person before judging that person. After a month or two, if you still feel that that person isn't the right fit to be socially involved in your life, walk away. But the first 24 hours is not time to judge. The first 48, 72, 96 hours is not a time to judge. Give it time. And don't forget to take your slippers off at night, put them on in the morning, praise God, thank God, and walk with God 24/7. Take care.